Good morning, everybody. We're coming live from the Connect for Climate Facebook page. We're here in Bologna for the All for the Green Week, a week of activities under the auspice of the Italian G7 presidency. This is the SDG Live digital media studio, and it's my great pleasure to have a colleague and friend to join us today. So Lamberto Mancini, he's the General Director for Touring Club Italiano. Thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Fantastic. So maybe just to get us started, could you just explain a little bit what Touring Club Italiano actually is, what you do, who your partners are, and where you engage?
Not so easy, but we try. Touring Club Italiano is an Italian association, so we take care of the world, but it's an Italian association. At the moment, we have 280,000 members, and it's one of the most historical associations here in Italy because Touring Club Italiano was founded in 19th century. At the end of the 19th century, it was 1894, when 57 very bright people decided to use the bike. And now the bike is coming back on stage, but at the time was a very innovative tool. They decided to use the bike to discover the country. One could say to discover the country at the end of 19th century. Yeah, Italy was just created 20, 30 years before. You know, Italy, it's a very historical country, but a very young country in terms of a nation, as a nation. And so discovering Italy was something important, was something interesting, and was something that at that time was useful also to create a national culture. So they decided from that date, from that year on, to provide the Italian population with many tools. The most famous ones are indicators, signs to move in Italy, direction signs, and then they created the first maps of Italy, the first cartography of Italy, and we are going on creating the best maps of our country. And then the most important part, the storytelling of the country. Touring Club Italiano was the first Italian association providing the country with Italian guides. At that time, there were only, unfortunately, British guides, German guides, and because the Italian country was visited and discovered, I would say, more by English people and German people than by Italian people, who were really busy in surviving, I would say. We were a very poor country those years.
No, fantastic. So very rich heritage, very much bringing together culture and environment, and presenting that through emotional storytelling and through the hands-on relationship, so the actual touring and the actual visitation of places. I understand as one of your symbols, you also use the bicycle tire, because that is kind of where you come from, right?
Yeah, at that time it was a necessity. Indeed, the name of the association at the beginning was Touring Club Ciclistico Italiano. Ciclistico in Italian means by bike. So it was, and the logo, the brand, has a bike wheel under the Italian flag. So bike is very, it's in the identity of the association. But as soon as the car came on board, we took care also of the sustainability of the tourism by car, and then train, and then flying. I give you an example. Touring Club Italiano, year after year, created many guides referring to the most important towns of the world, I would say New York or Paris or Berlin or whatever, and there was a combination between the Touring Club Italiano and the Italian air company. You know, Alitalia is our flagship airline company. or at least it was. And Touring Club Italiano and Alitalia, they were deciding together which are supposed to be the destination of the Italian tourism, and they created the link, the bridge with the flight, and they created the guide for the Italian people going for tourism in that place. So it was a very, I would say, company-wide combination, a synergy between culture, as you were saying, knowledge, but also a very practical way of doing things. If it's by bike, it's by bike. If it is by flying, it's by flying. I mean, no problem.
But always at the core was the idea of sustainability and also looking at the environmental impacts of the tourism industry. So maybe through your experience working in Italy, what are the kind of trends you're seeing around environmental impact as well as sustainability within the tourism industry? So on one hand, how is tourism affecting the environment? And on the other hand, what is the industry doing itself to start shift its practices to make sure that they're more low carbon, they're more sustainable, they're more in line with what is necessary to build a sustainable future?
It's a very complex question. Let's say main parts of the answer are, first of all, we are aware that Italy is a very peculiar country. We have the biggest UNESCO list of sites, so we have the biggest portion of heritage, of cultural heritage of the world. In a very small country, we have the biggest percentage of this heritage. Second point, moving in the big fields of United States is one point. Moving through the hills and the mountains and the coast of Italy is a different thing. So we not only have the highest percentage of cultural heritage in the world, but we have also the most fragmented territory to move in. Third of all, we have an unusual aggregation of this cultural heritage in few very famous towns. If we mention Venice, Rome, Florence, our statistics say that probably 70–80% of the international tourism it's directed to these three towns. This is not good. This is not good probably for the tourists who lose the huge amount of heritage that we have and the country and the beautiful country that we have in Italy, but it's also a problem for those towns who are overloaded by tourists. This is a very present problem here in Italy, and Touring Club Italiano is pushing forward a very simple concept. We sustain the importance of those very famous towns, but most of all, we sustain and we promote the value of the what is called a minor Italy. That is not minor. It is effectively, it is actually the most beautiful part of Italy, but it's made of thousands of small villages. It's made of thousands of scenarios, of landscapes, and it has to be discovered not simply by flying, landing, hotel, and visit. It must be discovered really traveling. So what we are proposing, and we are pragmatical in that, we are proposing guides, we are proposing travels, we are proposing way of exploring Italy in this different way, either by bike or by horse or by walking. You know, in Italy we have lots of spiritual footways. The most famous one in the world is the Santiago footway, but in Italy we have Via Francigena, la Via di San Francesco, Appian Way. We have lots of this way of traveling Italy just walking. So we sustain and we promote effectively all these kind of different tourisms. Following your very interesting question, I would like to add that we are not ideological. We are very pragmatical, and I would say that we take care of the environment, of the environmental issues, not by themselves, not taking care of them alone, that in our approach is a little bit limited. We are taking care of the territories, of the Italian territories, on 360 degrees. We take care of the people living there and the people working for there, either by tourism or just working in the activities that create the environment. Because if you are in agriculture, you create the landscape. If you are in the fishing, you create the life on the sea. So we are taking care of environment, of the people, of the social issues, of the economic issues. So we're trying to have a more general view of the territory and to promote the best practices who have a general, average advantage for all of these aspects. Maybe not, hopefully, not only for the present days, but hopefully to leave a better Italy for the generation to come.
Absolutely, and I mean that's really what one wants. One wants to keep the cultural heritage so that future generations can enjoy it.
Not only culture, I would
But
say
natural
cultural jobs and everything.
Yeah.
Because this is a living country. You know, sometimes when you come from abroad, you see Italy like a theme park, a cultural theme park. We are not. We are a living country, and let me say that with the immigration phenomenon, we are not only a living country, but we are a living country adopting a growing number of foreign people living here, who want to live here, to work here. So we are not a theme park. We have to take care of our territories, looking at the tourism not only as something that you use 2 days and you go away, but looking as a wheel of growth, of economic development, of cultural and social and economic development for that territory. We know that this is possible.
And by being so closely in touch with the country, you're also knowledge providers. And you're explaining how you've published a photo book on climate change, how climate change is impacting the world, and also really what the solutions are and what people have to embrace as the solutions and what actions not only individuals but governments and city level leaders have to take to be able to manage the future impacts of climate change, but also reduce the impacts.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present this book. This is a brand new book. This was edited less than 1 year ago, so very, very updated. I would say that it's, may I give you, and you can open it if you like. It's really a peculiar book because it's not heavy to read. It's full of wonderful pictures taken from all over the world. It's not only an Italian book. It's a book concerning the environment all over the world. From the North Pole to the South Pole to South America and whatever. And in my opinion, the main characteristic of this book is that it's not so serious. When we say serious, we mean it's not so heavy to read, it's not so scientific, but it starts from a scientific position. So we take a position on that. We say, stop discussing if we have a problem or not. We know that we have a problem. We have a problem with the increase of the temperature. We have a problem with the freezing in the poles. The problem that we know we have. So let's make a step beyond. You were saying we provide solution. Well, we are humble on that. We know that solution is not a receipt. We know that it's a huge and complex approach. We try to explorate all the aspects of a possible solution, from the engagement, from the commitment of the political side, and G7 is very, very important on this, but we take care also of the tourism approach, creating a better environment. We have a statistic that is not so beautiful in Italy. we have a very important study study office in Touring Club Italiano, and we have statistics saying that, unfortunately, when you have a territory in Italy where you have a certain percentage of differentiated storage for rubbish, that percentage of the local people is usually higher, even if it is 50% or 70%, is higher than the percentage of the tourists going in that territory. This is surprising because everybody thinks that, you know, North European people coming to visit in Italy, they bring maybe a better approach for that specific issues. Well, this is not. I don't know why, or maybe we know why. We have a lot of education, of training to do, but usually Italian local population perform better than the tourists going in that same area. This is shocking as a statistic. But in this book, we are approaching all the aspects of possible solutions, but we don't provide the solution. We don't think it is possible to provide a specific solution. First of all, we need the commitment of all the aspects of the parts of the society of the world, and this event that you are performing here is great in this direction. It's a question of sensitiveness, of being proud of our planet and to defend it.
But I mean, that is very much the challenge with climate change, because the causes of climate change, the emission of greenhouse gases from our fossil fuel consumption, from our use of the landscapes, those are intricately linked to all aspects of our economy. So all the solutions have to be on every level of the economy and have to be adopted by everybody across the board.
You can be a member of Touring Club Italiano.
and that's where your approach of linking the global story to the local communities and the local solutions. And as you highlight, you know, the communities are proud of their own environment. And that is why you might see those kind of statistics where, you know, they're custodians of their environment. They want to make sure that
maybe those tourists, when they go back to their country, they double the percentage of differentiated. You're right.
No,
You're
exactly.
right.
And I think that's also what's really exciting about the book, is that, you know, it links the international story, so taking Leonardo DiCaprio, but also taking it straight back to the local solution. So this is more of a city-level planning solutions, and it's a very comprehensive analysis of the issue and looking at all the different aspects.
I can make the interview to you. You're great. You're promoting.
No, that's great. Thank you so very much. And
it's my pleasure.
It's really wonderful to see how, you know, linking the natural heritage and linking the protection of our environment through tourism and through tourism actions can really result in a broader behavioral change and broader knowledge exchange and encouragement of solutions to tackle the bigger pictures of climate change, to promote the sustainable development goals, and to really create that, you know, low-carbon resilient future that we want to build.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you so very much for being with us. And please keep on tuning into our Facebook page. That's Connect for Climate on Facebook. And engage in the discussion with hashtag SDG Live, as well as the hashtag All for the Green. We will continue having engaging and solutions-oriented discussions all week long here in Bologna. Thank you very much.